Hey everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. How's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. And I hope you're in the mood for not only great conversation and our famous JMS Lovity, but some great music. Yes, because we've got a terrific special guest coming in from Tallahassee, Florida. That's Tallahassee. That is the capital, of course. Acclaimed jazz trumpeter extraordinaire, two-time Grammy winner, director of the Count Basie Orchestra, arranger, composer, teacher, author, you name it. He's a busy guy, and we're honored to have him here on the show. He's going to play live for us. We're going to learn more about some of the incredible things that the Count Basie Orchestra is doing, some upcoming touring across the country, and more, and lots more. And he's going to, again, play for us here on the show. We're so excited about that. Good to have everybody with us. Welcome if this is your first time watching the Jim Masters Show Live. This is our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series where we are bringing back that lost art of conversation and style with great warm conversations. We always learn something. We're always entertained at the same time. Interaction with our lovely audience who are joining us live as well, which we love. And we invite you to subscribe to the channel, which is the channel you're watching right now, Jim Masters TV. Show it some lovity. Click that red subscribe button. Make sure you click the notification bell, that little bell icon you see on the screen underneath this episode and all the episodes. That way there, you'll always keep abreast of all the episodes, all the action, all the entertainment and great conversations we have here on the Jim Masters Show Live. And while you're there, if you enjoy this episode and any of the episodes that we do, like 600 plus episodes, which is amazing, give them a thumbs up like. There's a little thumbs up icon you see on the YouTube channel. Give it a little thumbs up like and share the levity there as well. Lets us know you're enjoying what we're doing here at the Jim Masters Show Live. And also leave a comment for us on the YouTube channel. We love that. Many of you have been doing that, and that's very cool. Thanks for doing that as well. We have lots of folks who are commenting already, saying hello to one another, saying hello to us. Good to see everybody. We're going to check in with our Lovity audience. That's right. They call themselves the JMS Lovity Squad. That's the faithful who watch the show all the time, who are always here. They're not just in and out once in a while. A lot of these folks are here every single night. We take note of all that, and we really appreciate that. You guys are the best. Keep the comments coming. Now, for the folks that are watching who might want to comment live during the show, you can comment at any time on our YouTube channel underneath this episode. We invite and welcome you to do that. But if you would like to comment in chat, our private online chat that's happening during the live show, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel right now so you can do that. That's a special gift we give all of our subscribers. There's no cost for that. Of course, if you would like to do the super chat, super stickers, that supports our show. You can do that in chat as well. But in order to chat live with one another and have us see your comments during the show, subscribe to Jim Masters TV so you can do that as well. And again, we say hello to the Lovity Squad, the faithful who are watching our show right now. Very excited to take a moment to welcome again from Tallahassee, Florida, acclaimed jazz trumpeter Scotty Barnhart. He's all positioned. He's not only got his trumpet next to him, he's got his piano ready to go as well. He's an internationally acclaimed jazz trumpeter, composer, arranger, educator, author, producer, two-time Grammy winner, and director of the Count Basie Orchestra. Prior to being selected director in 2013, he was its featured trumpet soloist for 20 years, and in 2015 was executive producer of A Very Swingin' Basie Christmas, the very first Christmas recording in history of the Count Basie Orchestra. It went to #1 on the charts, and under his leadership, the orchestra won the Downbeat Magazine Readers Poll as the #1 jazz orchestra in the world for 2018 and their 2018 recording, All About That Basie, featuring special guest Stevie Wonder. Was nominated for a Grammy for Best Large Jazz Ensemble. The orchestra's latest recording, Live at Birdland, also produced by Scotty, was released on September 17th, 2021, immediately became a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Very exciting. And is also nominated for a 2022 Grammy Award. Scotty appears on 3 critically acclaimed recordings with pianist Marcus Roberts and over 20 others with artists as diverse as Tony Bennett, Diana Krall, and Ray Charles. He has performed with Frank Sinatra, Wynton Marsalis, Herbie Hancock, Quincy Jones, the Duke Ellington Orchestra, Nat Adderley, and Aretha Franklin. Barbra Streisand, George Benson, and many others. It's been featured in the Asian Wall Street Journal, performed at the Academy Awards, and is in demand as a soloist and lecturer on jazz history all over the world. And in 2009, he also released through Unity Music his solo CD, Say It Plain, and it reached number 3 on the jazz charts. Scotty is also co-founder and artistic director of the Florida Jazz and Blues Festival, professor of jazz trumpet with tenure at Florida State University, where 2 of his former students won first place in the National Jazz Trumpet Competition. His groundbreaking book, The World of Jazz Trumpet, A Comprehensive History and Practical Philosophy, was published in December 2005 to rave reviews. And the updated and revised edition contains over 50 interviews with many of the most important jazz trumpeters of the last 100 years. That's incredible. He's a graduate of Florida A&M University. Very proud of that, with a degree in music education. And in 2017, he was honored as a distinguished alumnus with a permanent plaque and photo being placed within the Gallery of Distinction at the university as well. He's also appeared as guest conductor and lecturer at such prestigious institutions as the Juilliard School of Music and others, and is profiled in the book Trumpet Kings, which places him among the greatest trumpeters in history in jazz. In 2019, he formed the Scotty Barnhart Orchestra, with its debut performance being the governor's inaugural ball, and he was awarded the 2021 National Performance and Outstanding Leadership Award from the Newspaper Publishers Association of America. And he resides, of course, as we mentioned, in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm saying Tallahassee. I'm all excited. Tallahassee, Florida. And that, gang, is just the short list. That is the short list of what this man has accomplished and what this man does. And we are so honored, and it's such a privilege to have him grace our presence right here on the Jim Masters Show Live. One of the greatest jazz trumpeters in the world is our special guest right now. And there he is. Scotty, thank you very much for joining us. What an honor and a pleasure, my friend.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My pleasure to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. I first of all, I love jazz. I love everything to do with it. And I'm so honored to have you here. Early on for you, you grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, as we were talking about before we went live. What were some of those early inspirations that pointed you in the direction of not only the trumpet and instruments, but just music as a whole, Scotty?
Well, it was my mother. It started with my mother because she was a vocalist. And she passed away just a few months ago, but she was a vocalist and a pianist and an organist. So with her singing around the house, and the second part of that is being at church every Sunday. So I grew up in Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta under Dr. King Sr., and every Sunday we had a different choir. So from the time I guess I was conceived, I was hearing music. Music was coming through my mother to me all the time. So I do it, all kinds of music.
And there she is, right? Your beautiful mama.
You got a picture of my mom. I didn't know you were going to do that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's my
Beautiful.
mom.
What's her name?
Shirley Barnhart. She died in October, a few months ago.
Very sorry to hear that, but a beautiful woman inside and out, and a very important inspiration in your life, Scotty, right?
Absolutely, man, because, the other thing is what that happened when I got to fifth grade, and I don't know if it's like this in public schools anymore, but at that time in Atlanta or DeKalb County, you get to fifth grade and they say, well, if you want to be in the band, you just take this little permission slip home, have your parents fill it out and get what you want to play and all of that. So I wanted to play violin for whatever reason.
Oh, I did that too in 7th, 8th grade. Yeah, violin.
I asked for a violin. They said, sure, we'll get you that. And my mom came home with the trumpet instead.
Yeah.
That's how that happened, man. So she was always my biggest fan, always my biggest supporter, her and my dad both.
Was there music always in the house growing up?
Absolutely. We had a big, huge hi-fi, the wooden hi-fi. Remember those?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Playing music, Johnny Mathis and Willie Bobo. Yeah. And then Basie and Ellington, that kind of came in through an aunt of mine. But James Brown, the Jackson 5, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Barry White, we grew up on all of that stuff. So, but being at church every Sunday helped to really keep it constant, as far as really good music. And then when I got to high school, my late band director in high school, Gordon Boykin, we were listening to music all the time, playing it all the time. So that's kind of how I got into music.
That is fantastic. So what would you say was like the early ticket for you? What was a pivotal moment in your early career as a musician that really started to tick things in the right direction for you, Scotty?
Well, a few things happened. I would say seeing Basie live, I was only 12 or 13, but when I saw him live, that just ignited this inferno, this musical inferno already inside of me. And then the same year, I heard Freddie Hubbard. I heard a Freddie Hubbard record at our family friend, the late Congressman John Lewis's house.
Yeah.
Well, I had the trumpet in one ear with Freddie, and I had the big Basie thing in the other ear, of course, with church music and gospel and all of that. And then I would say the thing that really put it over the top is when I was 17, I met Wynton. And that to see
Yeah.
Get right there and watch this guy play, man, 3 feet away from me. This was in the summer of '82 in London. And that was also after the second time I had seen the Count Basie Orchestra and met all of the musicians in the orchestra except Basie. So those things together sort of kind of cemented my love of the music and my passion for it. And then it was just a matter of trying to learn how to get better as a musician, which hasn't stopped. I'm still working on that. What do I practice? How do I practice? All of this stuff I'm still doing. The fundamentals and all these other things that have happened in my career, you just have to be lucky, and you have to meet the right people. And but first and foremost for me, and it'll always be this way, I'm just trying to be a great musician. I just want to be a good musician to pass the art form on and just make people feel good whenever they come to hear me play with us with Basie or my quintet, or if I'm with Marcus Roberts or whomever it is. And so I just work hard, just keep trying to learn more. And music has been, this music has taken me around the world. It's made me a world citizen, not just of where I live here in Atlanta. It's made me a world citizen. I made so many friends and still have friends all around the world. Maybe some of them are watching.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how fortunate I am. I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
When you think of the incredible Count Basie, what comes to mind first for you, Scotty?
Wow, man. Believe it or not, at this very second, the thing that came to mind was father figure.
Yeah.
I think that might be the first time that's come to my mind like that. But father figure, genius.
Yeah.
Legendary band leader. His orchestra's still on tour and winning awards 38 years after he left the planet. So that's a major accomplishment. If you can have an organization going for 87 years and still be at the top of its game and still is recognizable within 1 second of listening to, oh, that's Basie. That's not Ellington, that's Basie. And that's an accomplishment that I think doesn't get a lot of people talking about it too much, but Mr. Basie was an absolute wonderful man. Everybody that I've talked to that knew him and worked with him always has something nice to say about him. Never anything negative. It was always something funny. It's a funny story or a piece of advice that he gave them, or a way that he helped them out, whether it was musically or financially or whatever it may have been. And so for me, and I saw him when I was first time when I was 12, and then 17, and then to be in the position I'm in today, man, I'm the luckiest guy on this planet. And it's up to me to, every day I think about it. When I leave my house, I know I'm Scotty Barnhart, but if something were to happen, it'll be Scotty Barnhart, and Basie's name would be right next to that, or even before that. So I'm very aware of where I am. I'm very aware of the tradition that I'm in a position to help uphold. And the other thing I have to say, the musicians of the Count Basie Orchestra currently and in the past and in the future too, they're very important to what we were doing. And Mr. Basie always had the right musicians. And in order for this orchestra to keep going, you have to have that, as well as our management team with Mr. D. Askew and the promoters all over the world that bring us to the venues that we play. And so it's a huge team effort. But at the root of it is what Mr. Basie accomplished as a musician, as a businessman, as a band leader, and we're still reaping the benefits of what his excellence was. And that's not lost on me or the musicians at all. We know exactly what we're supposed to be doing, and it's just up to us to try to keep it going, because it still should be here 100 years from now, just like the New York Philharmonic. New York Philharmonic started in 1852, and this is 2022. And so they knew what to do to get the right people, the right musicians, play the right music. And that's kind of how I look at it. So as long as I'm here, I'm going to do what I can to make sure that this orchestra continues to live up to the highest levels of musicianship, the things that Mr. Basie left us, the refinement of the blues, the shouting of the blues, the playing the right tempos, all of these things that make the Count Basie Orchestra what it is today is what I'm going to, continue to try to do for as long as I can. And it's a joy, man. Every time we take the stage, it's an absolute joy and a thrill to stand on stage and feel, literally feel it going through our veins, the swing, the excitement, the blues of it, the camaraderie of it. We're having a ball. We're deadly serious up there, but we're having a ball too. And Carmen Bradford, the great Carmen Bradford, who's our vocalist, all the musicians, Doug Miller, Clarence Banks, who's been there 37 years, or however long it's been, to our newest members, Robert Boone on the drums, and Josh Lee on the baritone saxophone, Andre Rice, Sean Edmonds. Everyone in the orchestra is just a wonderful human being. And again, it's all a reflection on Mr. Basie. It all is a reflection on him. So, I'm just looking forward to getting back on tour, man. That's what we're ready to do. Get back on the road.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. Bring it on. We're waiting for you. That's for sure. We are waiting for you.
You can't wait.
We got a nice comment coming in here from Eben Fernando Heldreth. Much love to you, Scotty, and to the Count Basie Orchestra. Such an inspiration. Thank you for all you do.
Yeah, we're Facebook friends. Hey, man, how you doing? Thank you for the message.
Absolutely. Really, really cool to see, the comments coming in here. So you initially were a soloist for some 20 years with the orchestra, right? You were the guy, and and how did it progress into becoming this coveted director and beloved director of the Count Basie Orchestra that you are?
Man, I think what happened is that when I first got there to the orchestra, the older gentlemen who were there, I think, and Frank Foster, who was the director at the time, now when I look back on it, I can say this pretty assuredly. They saw somebody who they knew they could give the torch to and would not have to worry about it. Because I was so serious about this orchestra, man. Everything that needed to be done, I would do. I became our light guy, sound guy. I started doing that, I was our union representative. So I started taking on all these little assignments. And I guess, and musically, I was always trying to just play my part and play it in such a way that it would be accepted by not only the guys in the orchestra, but Basie himself, had he still been with us, So I just think they saw someone who they could count on eventually. And of the guys and the musicians in my generation that I know, I don't know anyone that's more passionate about the Count Basie Orchestra than me. I don't know it. I haven't met anyone like that yet. And so maybe that's why I'm here. And but I just love what I do, man. And playing trumpet solos in the orchestra is a thrill. And I was explaining yesterday, I gave a lecture yesterday morning to a class at FSU, and each of the trumpet chairs, just like each of the chairs in the orchestra, in the trombone section, and the sax section, the rhythm section, each chair has an individual history behind it. And there have been several people, just a handful, that have played each of those chairs. So it's my job to know who those people are and were, and how they contributed certain things to the sound of the orchestra. So being a trumpet soloist, I had to understand Thad Jones. When I played a solo in April in Paris, he played that very famous solo. So I could play that, or I could not play it. So I decided to play a little of it and just kind of mess with it a little bit. And that's just me being true to what happened before. That's all. Or if I'm playing Blues and Horses Flat that I used to play that Andre plays now, I try to play that in a way that Joe Newman played it or Sonny Cohen would play it. And so every time I step, on the bandstand, even just leave my house to go on tour, I'm already thinking of ways to continue the tradition as best as I can. And I just think the good thing is, by the time I did become leader, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that it would happen. It was just a matter of when. So I was just patient and kept doing what I was doing, all the things I was doing before. And by the time it did happen, and it actually happened in Japan, when it finally did happen, it didn't seem like this all of a sudden this big new job I have. It was like, oh, it's just a continuation basically of what I've been doing. I'm just now in front of the orchestra. And so it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about just human interaction. And the one thing that I can say that I try to do the same thing Mr. Basie did, and I think I do. I treat the musicians as human beings first. I don't treat them as a saxophone player or a drummer or, we go to dinner, we go to lunch, we hang out, we ask how your families are doing, and then you can get to the music part of it. And that's just, I think it just came natural for me. So, But the other thing I have to say too, which is really weird, man, I don't know what your viewers are going to think, but I used to have some strange dreams.
Did you really?
Oh my man, look, I'm telling you, man, it's something, but it's like beyond my control. You can't control that. I'm telling you, it was like I saw it before it actually happened, and it was all kind of
very intuitive.
It was kind of a scary thing in a way, because it's like you have a dream and you see this thing flashes in front of you, and you don't think much of it at the time, but when you're in that moment, deja vu, whatever you want to call it,
yeah,
and that happened to me with the orchestra. And I'm like, man,
what kind of dreams were they? Places where you were performing, or
tell you what happened? Well, one night I had a dream and I had this dream like 3 times in a row. Not 3 nights in a row, but 3 times. I remember that. And the dream was I was standing in front of an orchestra. I knew it was a big band, and it was at not my high school, but my rival high school. I went to Gordon High, which is now it's a junior high now. But at the time when I was in school, the closest rival we had was a high school called Walker High School, which I think is McNair Senior High now, I think. Anyway, and I remember standing on the gymnasium stage in front of this band playing. I could see my trumpet going out in front of me. I could see that. I couldn't see the musicians behind me, but in the floor, in the gymnasium floor, they had the basketball goals, bent back up out of the way so they could put an audience there. I remember seeing that, and I remember seeing my parents right there in the front row. My mom, my dad, my brother. I saw my family, and in the back of the gymnasium on the far wall on the right-hand side, it was a huge photo of Mr. Basie, just his face from the neck up. Man, do you know the second year after I was in the orchestra, where did we play? High school. Where did we play? In the gymnasium. And on top of that, I forgot to mention, I remember what I was wearing. I could see what I had on. It was a gray suit with a white shirt and a red tie. Guess what our uniforms were?
Wow.
White shirt, red tie. And it was a Count Basie Orchestra, man. And what happened, the moment I had at that time, my ballad feature was What's New, Anyway, Frank Foster had written his arrangement of What's New for me, so I had to go down front in front of the orchestra to play it. So as I'm playing What's New, that's when it hit me. That's when I remembered the dream. And I almost stopped playing, but I had to keep playing. So, man, there's things that happen on this planet to people and you just can't, I don't know, so it was just out of my control. But that actually happened.
Wow.
That actually happened. I saw it before it happened. So I don't know if I willed it to happen or it was, I don't know. But I just know that's what happened.
That's incredible.
Yeah, man, it's just unbelievable. Every detail was there that I saw in the dream was right in front of me in real life. Everything.
Wow.
That
is amazing.
So I don't know what to say about that, but
that's incredible. I think it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Executive producer of the very Swingin' Basie Christmas, that was, again, like I mentioned, one of the first times, if not the very first time, that a Christmas album was put out by the orchestra. That's really cool stuff, huh?
The first full length one, the orchestra did a track of Jingle Bells, just one track, I think, for like a compilation recording with a bunch of other artists, and they only played Jingle Bells. But that was the first thing I wanted to do after I became director. I knew we needed to do that, and we did that. And we had Johnny Mathis with us, Ellis Marsalis on piano. And every year when it gets right around the holiday time, October, November, it's starting to get into it. They re-release it or they put out more, and people get it for the first time, and it's just a wonderful recording, man. And we'll still. Oh, that's the one we did with Tony Bennett.
That's fantastic, huh?
That's the one we did with Tony in 2008. Yes, and that's down in the front on the left next to Harold Jones, and the way that we did that cover, they were trying to recreate like a Norman Rockwell kind of a look. The way we did that cover, each of us had to sit there at the table by ourselves and take 5 to 10 photos, and they spliced it togetger like that.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Who carved the turkey? Yeah.
Great to do that recording.
There's several different albums here along the way. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the names accompanying you as well.
Yeah, man, that's my first album as a leader, and I'm going to do another one this year. And I can't wait for that. And but this was my first one, and I'm so glad I had Clark Terry, Ellis Marsalis on it, and of course Marcus Roberts, vocalist Jamie Davis, great saxophonist Todd Williams, and my colleagues here at FSU, Leon Anderson on drums, Bill Peterson at piano, Rodney Jordan on bass, and the great Hurling Riley on tambourine, who was Wynton's drummer for a long time, and then of course Wynton. So I was very lucky to get the people that I wanted to have with me, and I just wanted to make a nice record that some standards and originals, and we did that in 2008, I think. Yeah, I think it was released in 2009, so we did most of it in 2008.
And this one too, very, very well received.
Yeah, well, that one, as I was thinking of our next recording after the Christmas recording, I knew we should do something that was just a little different. So I just thought, why not do some music of Earth, Wind, and Fire? Different types of composers, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Adele, Leonard Cohen. I even did an arrangement of Tequila for John Titus and our guitarist. And of course, I wanted to do something by Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
So, why don't we do Ma Cherie Amour in the Basie style of Little Darling? Our most famous ballad is Lefty's Little Darling. So I thought if we could do Stevie's tune like that, Ma Cherie Amour like that, it might be really nice. And then if we could get him to play on it, that would be even better. So we recorded the track, and we left. I said, make sure we leave a little space, solo space, just in case we can get Stevie on. And if we couldn't get him, then I'll play a solo or get somebody else. But so what the story goes is that Greg Field, who produced it, was also producing Arturo Sandoval's album right around the same time.
Greg's a great friend of mine. Greg and Monica.
Yeah, man.
Monica Mancini.
Yeah. So I remember telling Greg, man, I know you know Stevie, and I'd met him a couple of times, but see if you can get in touch with him, see if you can, somehow let him know. So what happened, the good fortune was what happened, as Greg was producing Arturo's record, Stevie was on Arturo's record, which meant that he was going to be in the studio with Greg and Arturo. So Greg told me the story, and Stevie came in, they would finish Arturo's record for that particular day or whatever, and Greg knew he was going to be there, so he had Ma Cherie Amour, our version of it, our new version, already queued up on the system just to play. So before you left, Greg said, hey, Steve, I want you to hear something. So Greg said, man, I hit play. Bam! And it started coming through the speakers, these big studio speakers, and Stevie was sitting there, and then he started smiling. He said, man, is that the Basie Orchestra? He knew it was us. And then the next thing he said, man, that needs a harmonica solo. When he got to the area where kind of nothing was going on, and that's how it happened, man.
Wow.
And to this day, I've always wanted to just thank him, either over the phone or in person. I still haven't had a chance to do that yet, but that's an arrangement that is just beautiful, and it shows the genius of Stevie Wonder is what it really shows. And the guy who did the wonderful arrangement is Andy Farber. I'm going to give Andy Farber a shout out. He's in New York. And he just arranged it perfectly. And Stevie loved playing. I think Greg said Stevie did like 5 takes or something, just things to play on it, on the harmonica, that is. So we still keep it on. I still put it on the set list, when we were playing.
Absolutely.
And,
that is so cool. Small world, knowing a lot of the same people, I tell you.
Yeah.
Here's another great. Now, this is the actual, this is your published work, which is fantastic. Congratulations on this. Tell us about this.
Well, you know what, man? In 1990, I think it was 90. Yeah, 1990, I was on the road with Marcus Roberts, pianist Marcus Roberts, and we were on tour, and we did a concert at Georgia State University. But before the concert, we were all asked, all of us in the band were asked to do a master class on our instruments. So I had to do one on trumpet and all that, our bassist had to do one. So on mine, which I always tried to do, I talk about the history of jazz trumpet, the people that I know, but I also play their solos. Like I talk about Will Thompson, then I play a solo that I learned by ear for him. Then I talk about Dizzy Gillespie, and I play, one by him, and Miles and Clifford Brown, all these trumpeters up to Wynton. But the good thing was that some of the people I knew, and I had met like Wynton and Freddie Hubbard and Nat Adderley and Clark Terry and Cease Edison. So I would put my own personal interactions with those people into the presentation when I got to them or their style. And so at the Q&A at the very end, and some of them were funny stories too, and at the end of it, I had a Q&A, and this guy asked a question. He said, man, that information is great, hearing about all of these things, all these people, but is it in a book somewhere written down? And I was like, oh my goodness, you know what? No, it actually isn't. Most of the information that jazz musicians get is an oral tradition. It's passed down. It's in stories and things like that. None of this stuff is really written down. And so that was September of 1990 or 91, right around in there. And when I thought about it later on, like a week or two later, I was like, wow, man, you know what? He's right. This stuff isn't written down, and it needs to be written down. So then I kind of worked backwards, which is what I do sometimes. I said, okay, if I were to go to Barnes & Noble or at that time Borders or whatever a bookstore is, and I see a book that says the history of jazz trumpet or the world of it or whatever, what should I see? What would I want to see in that book? That's kind of how I started. So I thought, you know what? It needs to be a bunch of interviews in there. It needs to be the whole history of jazz trumpet and jazz itself intertwined with American history. So you got to talk about the Civil War. You got to talk about slavery. You got to talk about all of the civil rights movement and the Supreme Court decisions. You got to talk about all of that stuff because it's all in there. And but for me, the most important part was going to be the interviews. I got to talk to these people who are still alive. I got to track them down. The main Clark Terry, Doc Severn, all of these people. So I was able to do 21 interviews for the first book, and we only published 15 because the publisher at that time was kind of in a hurry, and I was still researching, man. And I was researching this stuff while I'm on the road 40 weeks a year. I was home every day just doing that. I was on the road, man, on buses and planes, man, trying to write this stuff, man, and do all of this stuff. And I was able to get the interviews, and we published it, like I said, in 15 interviews. So I still had 6 left over that we didn't use, which was Bobby Shue and a few other people. And it came out, and it did well. And then I was not done researching. I needed to do more. I needed to interview more people. So long story short, I finally finished all of the interviews, man. And it's 51 now. 51 interviews, and a third of the musicians that I interviewed, I think, have passed away. So it's very valuable information. And I have all of it, in a digital format. So we may be able to do something with it one way like that. Maybe with this new technology, we can figure out how to do that. But I have some information that has never, ever been shared with anyone, ever, that people told me. And the good thing is, and like Freddie Hubbard told me, he said, man, I'm telling you stuff I've never told anyone, simply because I was doing I'm a jazz trumpeter. That's what I do. So he could feel comfortable telling me things. Mm-hmm. And he made a point of telling me that. And I said, well, I'm glad. I'm one of the people that studies you. I'm trying to learn how to play, but it allowed the musicians to open up to me and talk to me in a way that they probably wouldn't have talked to anyone else. So the latest, if I can't even rattle all of them, but I can tell you who they are. Most of them are Doc Severinsen, Arturo Sandoval, John Faddis, Terrence Blanchard, Nicholas Payton, Randy Brecker, Ingrid Jensen, Eddie Henderson, Claudio Roditi, Wallace Roney, which was his last interview, Stepko Gut, who's an Austrian trumpet player, Patrick Arturo, who's a trumpet player in France. It's just, Brian Lynch, Chris Bodie, all of these musicians, man. And so I'm finishing up now having the interviews transcribed, and then I'll edit them and everything. And maybe one day we'll even put the interviews out unedited. Now, you talk about some information.
Yeah. Chris Bodie is one of the nicest guys on the planet. I had the opportunity to interview him on PBS for one of his specials, and he was in the studio live. Couldn't have been any nicer to staff and to his fans and to us, the on-air people. He's just really a good-hearted soul. That's right. Talent as well.
Yeah, so they'll all be together, and we don't have anything like this for any other instrument, period.
Wow.
We don't have anything like it, but the trumpet players will have something. We'll have, but again, it took me 20 years to do, so I'm not like saying you can just go out and do that.
No. It takes time to build up, right?
Yeah. And
and to get everybody on the same page, literally, pun intended.
But the other thing I had to realize too, I mean, although it's a serious subject matter, jazz trumpet and jazz music is serious and all of that, I get all of that. But I had to do something with the interview for each person to kind of keep it lighthearted and trivial. So this is what I did. So the first 5 or 6 questions that I asked are specifically to that particular person's career and life and everything like that. But the last 2 or 3, I asked everybody the same question. Just to get some teaser. I like one of the things I did was a word association. So I said, I'm just going to say a word. You say the first thing that comes to your mind. And man, the answers are absolutely hilarious.
What was one of the words that you recall?
One of the things I did, I said A minor 7, which is, that's the chord, musician's chord. A minor 7. So Doc Severinsen, I'll tell you. Doc Severinsen, he thought for a minute, and he said, F sharp. Now, to a musician, that's a boatload of information. That's a lot of information for Doc Severinsen to say that answer to that chord. That tells a lot, right? But then I asked another musician, this cat in New Orleans, who his name is Jimmy LaRocca. And by the way, Jimmy LaRocca's father, Nick LaRocca, was the very first jazz trumpeter to ever be recorded in 1917. And Jimmy is in his early 80s. He lives in New Orleans. I knew I wanted to talk to him about his father And even when I was at his house, he went out and went to the back room and came out with his father's cornet that was actually used in 1917 on the original Dixieland Jazz Band recording. Well, I asked Nick the same question. I said, okay, A minor 7. So he thought, he sat there for a minute. He thought, and he said, you know what, man, I don't have a effing clue. And I thought, wow, that answer to Doc's answer to the 30, 40 answer is fascinating. So I think people will find it, not only will the information be fascinating, but it'll be funny too. There's some funny things in there. And we're human like everybody else, man. Everybody thinks musician, and we are artists. We're very serious about what we do. We practice in solitude and all. That's just one part of it. But the other part of it is just being a human being, having fun, man. So I'm just glad I was able to get these musicians on tape and to get this information documented so that, we could come out in the updated version of the book with another chapter or two, a few other things in there. And
was that a pun? Documented? Doc.
And again, I let one of my students listen to his recording the other day. I have it all in my iTunes.
He's fantastic.
Yeah. So I called him up on the phone, man, and we just talked in about an hour and a half. And so anyway, the public, you will get all of this information once the second book is out.
Mm. And for those, of course, may remember, of course, many, many, many years with Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show as the band leader, Doc Severinsen, the NBC Orchestra.
That's right.
One of the greats, he's got a couple of Christmas albums out that are really on fire, too. Right? We have him.
He was one of my first influences, man, because my parents used to let me stay up and watch him on the show. That's how I saw Winton for the first time. I'm up at night thinking, wanting to see Doc in the band.
Yeah.
And night that I was up, Winton happened to be on there. And I said, what? Who is that?
Yes. Who were some of the other influences? Were you influenced by Miles Davis, others? Tell us about some of the folks that inspired you early on.
Man, look, as a trumpet player, everybody, man. But early, it was Al Hurt, believe it or not, Doc Severinsen, Freddie Hubbard, then Winton and Clark Terry. And all the musicians who played in the Basie trumpet section, from Pete Minger to Joe Newman to Sonny Cohen, anybody that took a solo on a Basie record, I heard all of that. And but everybody, man, I love listening to everyone, man. There's not one trumpet player that I don't like to listen to. I have everybody's recordings that I could get. And I was listening earlier today to a trumpeter named Don Goldie, who's not known that much, although he played with Jack Teagarden, the trombonist who played with Louis Armstrong. But Don Goldie, Don Sleet, Lester Boyd. I mean, I really saw all of these players, man. There's so many players to listen to and to study. And I just love listening.
Yeah.
So working on the book has given me the opportunity. The good thing is that I'm able now to go to a record store. When I lived in LA, there's a record store called Amoeba. There used to be Tower Records and all these places like that. Now I've been able, because of my research, I've been able to go in and buy everything that I don't have from trumpet, and that's how I found a lot of players. But Miles, of course, Miles Davis, I never met him. I wish I'd met him.
Yeah.
But Dizzy, Freddie, Fats Navarro. By the way, again, to the musicians who know who Fats Navarro is, Fats Navarro was a very, very important trumpeter who died in 1950. And he was Clifford Brown's idol. The great Clifford Brown looked up to this guy as the guy who he wanted to really sound like and emulate. Long story short, I just found out a few months ago that his sister, Fats Navarro's sister, lives in Tallahassee. And they're going to put me in touch with her. I'm going to try to interview and talk to her, and see if we can find out some information, maybe some things we didn't know.
That's cool, huh?
Yeah, man. So I just have loved discovering new players like Charles Sullivan, who's changed his name to Kamu Adelifu, who lives in New York, who played with a lot of people. Hannibal, man. I mean, I can't think of his full name at the moment, but so many trumpet players that didn't get the big recording contract, that weren't on TV, but who were able to record in different bands all around the world. Japanese trumpet players I've learned about, man. African trumpet players I've learned about. And so the research part of it has been absolutely a joy to me. I love finding out new musicians and getting them recordings and studying them and comparing and contrasting them to other players. That's just what I love to do. And but luckily, in this book that's coming out, most of that being a book that other people can use it and figure out who some of these great players, and a lot of women too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
When I wrote this book, and unfortunately, I had to be the first one to come along to write a chapter on women jazz trumpet players. Me? Really? It shouldn't have taken that long to do that. It really shouldn't have, man. And So I've seen young women get turned away from the trumpet. Oh, it's going to hurt your lips, so you should play the flute, or you should. So the late great Clora Bryant, who passed away a couple of years ago, she was in her 80s. She and I became like that when I moved to LA. And I interviewed her. Her interviews in the first book. And the things that she told me about so many women that I'd never even heard of that had recording contracts. And but what happened right around World War II, a lot of them were discouraged from continuing a career in jazz as a trumpet soloist. And she and Chloe said to me, some producers and club owners and record executives would say to her, "Oh, you should just really stay home and raise a family. Why don't you put the trumpet down? Why don't you?" And she's sitting there telling me this, shaking her head like that, and I'm like, "Wow, are you kidding?" So I'm just trying to uncover a lot of that material that didn't appear in some of these early jazz history books. Some of these things I found out from Clora are not in these books. I got the information from her. And but anyway, I'm just trying to give our instrument, the trumpet, as much, put out as much information on it and the major players and the contributors to the art form that I can. And hopefully it'll inspire another generation, and we'll have more and more young women coming up and youngsters in 5th grade, 6th grade, and all through college and the amateur ranks who really want to learn about their instrument, in this music, man. And
you've worked with so many incredible people too along the way that I know you've teamed up with, or they've inspired you. You've worked with Tony Bennett, as we mentioned, Diana Krall, Ray Charles. I mean, you've performed with Frank Sinatra. We mentioned Wynton Marsalis, Herbie Hancock, Quincy Jones, the Duke Ellington Orchestra, Nat Adderley, Aretha Franklin, Barbra Streisand, George Benson, and so many others. Tell us about some of those incredible experiences that maybe stand out with some of those beloved artists.
Man, there's so many of them. The first one that comes to mind, working with Tony Bennett, this is with the Basie Orchestra, by the way. This is in 1993, my first year in the orchestra, and I remember we were in Monte Carlo. We were playing a concert in Monte Carlo at the Monte Carlo Sporting Club. So we're sitting there, black tie and everything. Tony's in his white suit down, and beautiful night. That was the night I met Sean Connery, one of the original James Bond actors. And so all of these people were there, and I remember thinking, wow, this is show business. So I'm sitting there, and we were playing this one song where luckily the band had a tune off. We didn't have to play this particular song. So it was just Tony and his piano. It was very quiet, very pretty, romantic and all that. And I'm sitting there watching. And all of a sudden it felt like somebody turned the AC on, man, like blast, like bam. Like, and I'm like, what the heck is all that? What is that? and Jim, I look up, unbeknownst to me and the guys in the orchestra, the whole roof of the place that slid off.
Just blew off.
I mean, it was slowly moving. We didn't even see it moving. When you look up, it's the stars, man. The roof was off the place, and I thought, what kind? I thought if my mom could see this and my dad could be so working with situations like that in a glamour situation, and of course working with Frank Sinatra, man, that was just. I knew that would be great. So my brother and I, we flew my parents up for that, so they could be there and everything. It was Radio City Music Hall, 6 nights a week. Sold completely out. Again, all of the great actors and actresses, entertainers were there. Anthony Quinn, all of these people, and luckily for me, I had all of the trumpet solos that week for him, and kind of happened by accident. But I had all the trumpet solos, and I was just trying to stay out of his way, man. He's delivering a lyric, and I'm just trying to play a note here, a note there. And luckily, I had studied Sweets Edison, who was Sinatra's favorite trumpet player, who played with Basie. And I remember talking to Sweets about it. I said, how in the world did you figure out how to play behind Sinatra? He said, well, wherever the space I had, I would play. If it was space for one note, I would play one note. If it was space for 5, I would play 5. And luckily it worked out. And but the main thing was I wanted to meet him. I wanted to meet Frank and say hello or something, man. So all week I'm plotting, how am I going to meet this cat? Because after every night, his car was on the stage level. He would walk right off the stage, right into his car, down the big freight elevator. That's how he would leave like that, but you couldn't get to him, right?
Right.
So my chair we had strings and everything, but I just happened to be right in the middle of everything, right in the middle of about 50 musicians. I'm like, man, how am I going to? So anyway, the last night was there, and I'm still thinking, I haven't said hello. I want to at least, something. So we did New York, which was the encore, and everybody was on their feet clapping, and then the curtains come down. I'm like, man, if I don't get over there to say something now, I'm not going to ever. So I said, you know what? Okay, I don't care what happens. I'm running to go say hello. but I had to I had to knock over chairs and stuff to get to him. So, so he's walking off stage, man. His bodyguards came and surrounded him. They're walking like this group of people. He's in the middle, and 5 people are walking like that. And I said, man, I got to go for it, man. So I just started bolting through the chairs. Chairs getting knocked over. So much about I was fighting or something, right? So the bodyguards turned around to see what the commotion was, and I'm right there with my trumpet and my tux. And I said, and Frank stopped, and I never forget it, man. He stopped. They made a little space so we could see each other. He turned around, and I said, I just wanted to say it was a pleasure working with you. And he stuck his hand out and said, you know, it was a pleasure, was all mine. And we shook hands, and I said, and he turned and laughed. And I said, man, wow, man. So all of these people, these entertainers who might be listening that want to be divas and up, Frank's like, he could have easily had his bodyguards jack me up or block my way. But he stopped in his tracks to say hello to a sideman who was working for him. I never, will ever forget that. And how nice he was, and just how, which is why, and he loved Basie, you know. So again, it goes back to the human interaction with this. I mean, this music is about connecting with humans. It's not being, if you're a star, you know, not speaking to your sideman, or, you know, or just, you know, performing, just being this untouchable. Man, the people I've worked with, from Tony Bennett to Sinatra to Barbra Streisand. I mean, when the concert with Barbra was over, I'm in her dressing room. I'm sitting there talking to who does that? Great musicians do that. That's the kind of people that they are. So I've been fortunate to see this and be around it. So when I'm working with my students and talking to young musicians, I'm like, man, focus, and young lady, focus on the music. Be nice to people, because if you are nice, people will always want to play for you. Everybody always wanted to play for Sinatra. They still want to play for Streisand. They still want to play for Tony Bennett, because they're nice people. You know, that's what makes the world go around. That's what makes my job. It's not even a job. I mean, it's the only hard part about my job is the travel part, because you got to go through the airports now, and you got to, you know, that's the hard part. But play, do that for free.
Yeah.
You know, musicians really charge for travel.
Right. And you've traveled. You and I were chatting before we went live. You've traveled literally all around the globe, all the states in the United States, everywhere. You've seen so much in your travel, huh?
Yeah. Oh man. You know, it's just a real blessing. I can't think of it any other way. I mean, I have a plaque on I have a saying on my piano here. I wish I can show it to you if I can grab it. But it's by Mark Twain. And Mark Twain said that travel is fatal to bigotry, narrow-mindedness, and prejudice. And he's exactly right. When you travel and you get to meet other people and experience other cultures, I've been in the homes of many of my Japanese friends who have chapels in their homes, who do things a certain way. I've been in the homes of my friends, not all 50 states, but a lot of them, and homes and friends of mine in Europe, France, Germany. And what I found, people are all the same. People just want to be left alone, to love who they want to love, and just to do what they want to do, you know. And travel has taught me that all of these little issues we have with race and stuff like that, or people that only see one side of a story or one side of a cultural issue, then you need to really travel so you can see how other people are living, how they view certain things, how they appreciate art, how they with their cuisine, or even with their politics. It's just different. You know, you get to really begin to appreciate another side of things, not just what you have learned and what you've grown up with in your 10 or 15 or even 100-mile radius. If you can expand, you know, I mean, it just teaches you everything. So for us, we just love traveling, because every time we get ready to go on tour, I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy store when I'm packing, man. I can't wait to pack, because I know I'm going to meet new people. And especially if we're going out of the country, I'm going to get to a different city that maybe I haven't been to. Or if I go to a city that I've been to, I can go to the areas where I know, and they may be the same, they may have changed. And that is, you can't put a price on an education like that. And when you come back home, you bring all of that back with you. I give all of that to my students. Every experience that I have with other people, they get to understand how it's like, what it's like, you know. And so travel is, I just wish everybody could do it. I wish everybody on this planet could have the opportunity to travel to all 50 states or all regions, whatever country they live in.
Gives you a different appreciation of different cultures, lifestyles, all of it, and perspectives. And I've had a chance to travel as well, outside the country. And it really does. It does two things I noticed. It gives you a wonderful appreciation for, and it expands your horizons and your thinking on a lot of different things, an
Yeah.
appreciation of all the different cultures and
Mhm.
landscapes and everything. So
Mhm.
you fall in love with where you're visiting. And then it also gives you, which is another bonus, a reappreciation of home. I notice every time I've left the United States of America to go to Europe or wherever I've gone,
Yeah.
I really thoroughly love or enjoy or make the most of wherever we're going
Mhm.
and fall in love with it and want to go back.
Mhm.
And then it gives me a reappreciation, a rebirthing love
Yeah.
for home, for here, for, the things that we have here as well that maybe other places don't have.
Mhm.
You sort of notice all of that even more. So I think there's a double sort of bonus. You appreciate the other
Yeah.
cultures, landscapes, foods,
Yeah.
traditions,
Man,
and then you reappreciate here
my God,
as
man,
well.
you just made me think of my trip to Cuba. I went to Cuba a few years ago, and I was asked to give a lecture to a college class about, they just wanted me to come and talk to this class. And as I'm talking to them, it dawned on me to ask them a question. And the question was, have any of you ever left Cuba and been to America? Have you ever been, to America? And it was probably 25 students in there. None of them had ever been to America. And they told me why they weren't allowed really to go. The system was stacked against them in such a way that they said you have to apply to go to get a visa. And they said after a while they just give up. And I said, oh my God, I wish I could take all of you guys home with me, and so you could, so I've had some situations like that where you talk about being glad to get back home after that trip and the freedoms that we have here.
Yeah.
Just getting in the car and going to the store or turn on TV or get it on the internet and typing in what I want to type in.
Right.
I mean, man, so a lot of the places around the world, Americans, we have it. I mean, there's obviously problems here for sure, but it is a lot. I understand now why a lot of people say it's the greatest country in the world. I get that. I got that, especially after I left Cuba. I'm like, man, I'm leaving these people. They can't do half of the stuff that we can do here.
Right.
They can't. Period. End of story. They are not do that. And I heard it from their own mouths. I heard these students and the look in their eyes. It's just one seriously, man. I got a buddy of mine, the guy that asked me to do it, took a photo of me as I'm talking to them, and you can see it. They're just like, it's like despair, man. I mean, they have no hope to go see another part of the world without having to risk getting jailed or getting killed or whatever it may be.
Yes,
it's
so true.
People are in this situation in 2022, but that's just the way this world is, and hopefully it'll get better one day. But traveling allowed me to see that dark side of the humanity part of it that doesn't allow human beings to just be who they want to be or go where they want to go. Regardless of a government or whatever, people should be able to go where they want to go. Anyway, I don't want to get
one of your favorite places. You were telling me off air, you really love Japan.
Yeah, Japan, man. By far, I love going to Japan. I've been 35 times, almost 40 times, and we go every year. And at one point, we went 3 times in one year. That was really something. But the people just are beautiful people. They love the music. They are really knowledgeable about it. And the other thing that's interesting is that they have more jazz clubs in Tokyo, or I know in Japan, than they do here in the States. They absolutely do. And it's just a beautiful place to visit. It's clean. It's just, all of the things you would want in a really nice place, and everybody's just so nice. But the main thing, they really respect jazz musicians and understand what it is that we do. They really, really get it. And I would be able to find, because I'm a record guy. I'm always trying to buy new records and CDs or whatever. And there are stores in Japan that would have things there that you cannot even find in the States.
Yes.
Rare recordings and rare this, rare that, LPs. So that's the first thing I do if I have a day off or time off. I'm looking for the record stores that I know, or have somebody take me to a new one I haven't been to, just so I can browse and find things. And I always come home with a handful of stuff,
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful place. And over the last 2 years, because of COVID, both of our tours have been canceled. But hopefully this year, Japan will open back up and we can get back to work there.
Did you want to play something for us on the trumpet, my friend?
Man. Well, I mean, I have it here, man. So
I just happen to have it here.
I was
It's never more than 5 inches from you.
what's that movie with Will Ferrell? He had a flute up his sleeve. He had his flute up his sleeve. Oh, Ron Burgundy, the anchorman.
Right.
I can play something for you here. And I was trying to think of what to play, and I'll just play this melody by somebody that I did have a chance to meet, Dizzy Gillespie. And Dizzy Gillespie is, the father of modern jazz trumpet. And he wrote a bunch of music, and this is just a little thing that he wrote. And I'll just play the melody down one time, take a little bit of a solo, maybe one chorus, and then I'll just stop. This is called Groovin' High. It's really hard tune to play, man. But anyway, that's just a little
workout, huh?
I'm just trying to articulate the harmony, not mess the melody up, and when you're by yourself, all of that falls on you. I have no basses here, no drummer kind of. So anyway.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Really, really fantastic. Just showing everybody, why you are what you are and why you're so beloved, and really, really fantastic. What happens to you when you're doing that? Are you transported to a different place? Or are you in a zone? Because you certainly look like you are totally, in a real deep zone. You're really feeling it, and it's like controlling you. You're controlling it. It's a little back and forth, which is very cool.
Yeah, it's playing jazz, man, and the funny thing about this music is that if I were to play that again, I wouldn't play any what I just played. It'll be different every time. So wherever my mindset is at the moment that I begin to play something, is what's going to happen. Is what I'm going to play. But I'm just trying to be clear and just accurate on what the harmonies are, the first chord, and the outline that, and then. So I'm trying to get the sound of the chords on my instrument a note at a time. And I'm just trying to play a clear melody, play little things I like to play, little flourishes here and there, whatever it may be. But first and foremost, I'm just trying to play the trumpet right. I'm trying to be a great trumpet player, man, in tune and attacking everything just out, the way it's supposed to be attacked. So there's a lot of compartmentalization that goes on when you're playing. And if I had a trio here, if I had a band here, then I would have to consider what all of them will be doing, whatever they're doing. What is the bass player walking? What note did he play on beat 3 of that chord? And what did the pianist play on that same beat? And what did so it gets very involved, but the more you do it, it's like anything else in the world. You first start driving a car, you got your left hand, your right hand, your left foot, and you got to kind of get all that stuff coordinated. Or if you're a pilot, you got all of these buttons, and everything does something. You just got to figure out not to hit the wrong button at the wrong time, And the same thing with us, when we're improvising, I'm trying just to, play the music in such a way that the composer would like, and try to play it in a way that feels good to me. I could play it at a different tempo. I could play it slower, faster. I could change keys. So it's an unlimited amount of level of creativity that's possible. and this is why I have my piano. Why I always love playing piano. Everything that I could play on a trumpet in a jazz setting, I could play at the piano. Most for the most part. So I'm always sitting at the piano. So once I learn a tune here on the trumpet, then I make sure I can play at the piano, and vice versa. And so when I'm teaching, if I'm teaching my students this tune here, I'll be at the piano first. They'll be on the trumpet, and they'll have to make sure they can play the melody. And as we go through it, if they play a note that's not right, like if they play that note's not right, that note's not in the chord, so I'll say, what is the chord? And I'll play it for them. And they have to play the scale. Do that to every chord. And so it's just it's a beautiful way to work with music, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. They're loving it. There's all kinds of great comments coming here. Beautifully done, Scotty from Terry Ann. Awesome from Juanita, watching in South Africa. Jane watching in Sweden, which is another of your favorite places.
Yes.
Yeah, she's watching in Sweden. All kinds of happiness here. And Merlin in Canada. Same thing. Sherry Larson in Kansas, USA. And Kathleen Walker in New York City. All loving it. Is there anything else that you wanted to play on the trumpet or piano, either or for us?
Well, should I play something on the piano, or should I play on the piano?
I say the trumpet.
The trumpet?
Yeah, we love that. That's you're that guy, and you look so good in your hand.
What can I play on the trumpet, man? I could just I'll tell you what, I'll play. I feel like I can't even think of anything else to play now other than there's a song called "It Could Happen to You."
Sure.
Which is one of my favorite songs to play. And actually, you know what? I'll change that. I'll play "All the Things You Are." It's a beautiful thing. Everybody knows that. So I'll play "All the Things You Are" down one time and take a solo on it, and just like I did before. So hopefully you like "All the Things You Are." Here we go.
Here he is, Scotty Barnhart on the trumpet on the Jim Master Show live.
Okay. I
like to say that. Okay. To be able to do that, I mean, the when you're about to go on stage or into the recording studio, whatever it may be, what is some of your routine in preparation? Not just rehearsing with the gang, but you personally. There are things that you do in terms of sleep, eating, drinking lots of water, various things that you do physically, mentally to prepare to be able to pull off something like you just did, and oftentimes for hours on end. What is some of your preparation for you, Scott?
Well, to me, I just be myself. I don't really change too much before I play. Because the main thing for me when I'm getting ready to play, I just have to make sure I'm warmed up. And what that usually entails is that if we have a gig that night or something like that, if I'm in the hotel room earlier in the day, if I don't really have anything to do, I like that. I don't like to be too busy. Sometimes I have students on Skype or whatever I have to do, but I try to curtail that when I'm traveling so I can just kind of just relax. And I like to watch TV. That relaxes me. I like to read. I take books with me on the road. I like to get on the phone and talk to people. I just try to be my usual everyday self so that when I do go play, I'm relaxed. I'm not, everything's all tight. I got to go play. No, I keep my horn out usually here at the house. So playing is just a part of me. So I just try to be as natural as possible. And I respect this instrument, so I make sure that I'm doing my fundamentals when I'm warming up, my long tones, the things that all the basic fundamental things that I've done from day one when I learned how to play this, 48 years ago, however long it's been now. That's really what I'm focused on. But with the directorship of the orchestra, I have to make sure that I'm doing a set list. I'm trying to figure out what we're going to play that night. I'm just trying to, but I just try to be as natural as I can. And when it comes to eating and sleeping and all this kind of stuff, I really don't have any rule. I really only have one rule for that. I eat when I'm hungry and I sleep when I'm sleepy. That could be any one of the 24 hours of the day, as long as I don't sleep or eat on the bandstand.
Right.
Don't think I can't do that. Anywhere else, if I'm sleepy, I'm going to sleep.
That's it.
If I find myself awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm just awake.
That's it.
And that has worked for me. And when I'm hungry, I eat. I don't care what time of day it is. So sometimes when I wake up in the morning, the first thing on most people's mind is get breakfast. But I'm not hungry. I'm not going to force myself to conform to a 9 to 5 type of a lifestyle. That's not what I do. So I learned early on, just listen to my body, man. If I'm hungry, eat something. If I'm sleeping, go to sleep. Just as long as it's not on the bandstand, Yeah. And so it worked for me. And but yeah, it's worth getting in a zone. I think I'm always in that zone. I don't think I'm never out of it. I'm always in that zone. I was telling one of my students the other day, man, I hear music 24/7, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to hear it. I want a Family Guy, whatever. I'm trying to watch what Stewie is doing. I'm not be thinking about a chord, but as I'm watching Stewie, this chord is in my mind. It's a weird thing, man. Only musicians can really maybe understand what I'm talking about. It's weird, man. I could hear a whole song.
Yeah.
A big band piece going on in its entirety, every part, that I'm still watching TV and I'm listening.
Right.
So,
or when you are watching TV shows or movies where there's a lot of music and show opens and soundtracks and underscoring, I hear all that too, and you're hearing all that, and I'm looking at the camera angles and the jib shots, and I'm looking at it from a television side of things too, as how they put the show together, as much as enjoying it. How do you is there a way to turn it off? Does it ever get in the way of enjoying what it is, or does it heighten your enjoyment?
It heightens it. That's just it. It never gets in the way of me enjoying going to sleep. I have a great pair of noise canceling headphones that I use when I'm on a plane. And every once in a while, I'll just need silence. I don't want to hear any music. I don't want to hear anything. And that's very rare, though. I mean, that's maybe one day out of 6 months that I don't want to hear it. I don't. So it's just, it heightens everything. Like last week on campus, and this is weird, but it's just what I can do. So I'm walking down the hall with one of the students. We're talking about something, man, and I'm telling he was asking me the very question that you're asking me. That's why I'm bringing this up. He said, "Man, how do you hear music?" I mean, I said, "Look, man, I hear music in everything that's going on." And I stopped both of us in the middle of the hall. I said, "Okay, look, just stand here for a second. Tell me what you hear." And I said, before you answer, everything that you hear, there's a pitch associated with it. Somebody opening a door, somebody knocking, even somebody. And right at that moment, the main door to my music building where my office is opened, and I heard a pitch. I said, "You hear that? That's a concert E." He said, "Come on, man." I opened the door to my office. We were right in front of my office. I got to the piano. Bam! It was the E. That's just, I don't know how I do that, but that's just what it was. So for me, music can be all-encompassing. It could be relaxing at the same time. It's all of those things, and I just had to learn how to kind of temper it or just kind of go. So when I'm playing, I'm all there, man. And when I'm relaxing, I try to all be there too. But music is that's just how my brain is wired. I thank my mother for that, and my grandmother, her mother, she was a musician too, man. So I got my brain. And I'm left-handed too, so I guess I use the other side of the brain.
I'm left-handed also, yes, yeah.
So sometimes I don't want to hear music. I just want to. But you know what? well, I probably say that, but I probably wouldn't want to be any different. You know, I would. I don't think I would. I don't think I could survive silence, like total, with this thing going on.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
If we were to listen to your iPod or your stereo system or your boom box or whatever it might be, what's probably in it right now? What kind of music do you like to enjoy?
I love everything except anything that's loud and distorted. Earlier, I was listening to Chick Corea.
Oh yeah.
I love Beethoven, the Beethoven string quartets with the Juilliard string quartet. I was listening to that not long ago, and I was also listening to all of the Beethoven symphonies with Leonard Bernstein directing the Vienna Philharmonic. But Earth, Wind, and Fire, I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. I love solo piano, and I love piano trio. I love Oscar Peterson, Monk. I was listening to him yesterday. So it's just it's usually on shuffle, or if something comes up with a tune, if I'm learning a tune, I want to see what versions of it that I can really check out. What are the best versions of that? Cannonball Adderley, I was listening to him. So it's a daily kind of and when I'm in my car still has a 6 CD changer in it. So although it has Bluetooth too, but I'm still putting in CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
I was listening to today this trumpeter Don Goldie that I mentioned. Also Woody Shaw, I was listening to him today. The great organist Shirley Scott. I have Sarah Vaughan with it. I was listening to Sarah the other day. So every day I just kind of go through stuff. I like the Carpenters.
Absolutely. So you like it all, like me. A good breadth of material. A composer too. A composer.
Yeah.
Take us down that road a bit as far as how much you love composing the music, in addition to interpreting the music others have written and arranged, but doing the compositions yourself.
Yeah, composing really comes when I'm inspired. I mean, I just composed a great ballad not long ago for someone very dear to me, and it just came out. I was at the piano one day, I'm sitting, and I'm thinking about him, thinking about her, and it just came out, So composing is something that all I'm trying to do is to pull from the piano the sound of what my emotions are. That's really what a composer does. I mean, or whatever instrument they may use. I mean, but for me, it's the piano, because I have all of the different chords I can play. I have a variety of different things I could try to find to pull it out. And what I like to explain about composing is that every human being, their personality, at least to me, there's a sound to everybody's personality. Somebody's sound to their personality, if they're nice and affable and really sweet, it may be a major sound. Real pretty. If they're kind of dark, they're a little bit dark, or kind of maybe a little bit dark, it may be a minor sound. And another person may have a personality that's, I don't want to say split, but just a little bit of everything. That could be a dominant chord or altered chord. So I just try to, when I'm inspired, it's just up to me to get to the piano and pull out the sound that person's vibrations and their personality has given me. So that's kind of what I do. So when I'm composing, that's what I try to do.
To identify the sounds with the personalities and vice versa, which is a very cool and unique thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody has a sound. You have a sound. So if I get to know you for a while and we talk, I can see your things you like and how you talk, how you react with other people. And I just think about that, and I go to the piano and I can find it. It's like when I was a kid, when we were all kids, we were watching The Little Rascals,
Sure.
And they were using, and I didn't understand what chord they were using, but they were using these diminished chords. So like if you watch The Little Rascals and there's like a chase scene or the police car or something, it's like, those are very specific chords or sounds that make you think about that. They weren't doing this. That's different. So you just get to learn what you can do with a major sound, with a minor sound, with a dominant sound, with a diminished sound. And then it's just a matter of mixing them together or going where the music takes you. I go where the music takes me. And if I hear a chord doesn't sound right, I won't use it. I was like, you just try 2 or 3 things on that bar. It doesn't work. There it is. And it could be a chord you hadn't even thought of,
You didn't even think of that.
Exactly. So composing is, it's really something. And in the jazz context, man, when we're playing a tune together, we're all composing at the same time. That's what's the trick.
Yeah.
When you think about it, the drums, he's composing his rhythms. The bass player, he's composing his lines that he's going to play. I'm sitting there trying to figure out what I'm going to play. The pianist is... But it's a beautiful thing, though.
It absolutely is. And again, this time spent with this extraordinary orchestra, the Count Basie Orchestra, is really, it's like the icing on the cake in so many ways. Yeah. You have really worked so hard. I love this too.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening here?
That was with the guy in the white shirt right there to my right, or screen's left. That's David Monette. He makes my trumpets that I play, and he's in Portland, Oregon. And that was when I was featured on this. He and I both were featured on this TV show called Craft in America. It's a PBS thing that they come out with, I think, episodes every 2 or 3 times a year.
Oh, yeah.
It's focused on different instrument makers around the world or whatever. And they were doing a segment on Dave and me working with Dave and building my trumpet and all that kind of thing. So that was in the shop at Monette. Those are his assistants that helped build his trumpets. That was probably, I don't know how many years ago that was, 5-6 years ago. But that's
which is really awesome. I know something exciting too is this recent release.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about this, the Count Basie Orchestra live at Birdland.
We've been playing Birdland in New York every year for the last 6 or 7 years, probably longer than that. So, I mentioned to the owner one night, I said, man, we've got to record here. We need to record here. It'd be easy to do. Just bring this stuff down. So I worked on it for a couple of years trying to figure out when might be the right time to do it. And we did the other recordings, the Christmas recording and all about that Basie and Ella 100 live at the Apollo. So when we finally got to the point where we could do it, we scheduled a date and made it happen. And I've got the funding together. I did all that stuff and produced it. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I was just doing it. And so it came out wonderful, man. And we recorded over a 4-night period, 2 sets a night. And I just chose the best material that represented the entire week. And no overdubbing, none of that. So what you hear, that's what actually happened. No trick solos or fixing a solo here or there. And you know if that was wrong or somebody came in early or late, it's there. And the guys were just on fire, along with Carmen Bradford on vocals and Jamie Davis on vocals. And it just came out really nice. And we were so fortunate that the Academy thought enough of it to nominate it for a Grammy. So I'll be going to the Grammys on April 3rd in Las Vegas.
Congratulations.
I'm really looking forward to that. And maybe we'll win this one,
Yeah, you've been there a couple of times. What was that feeling like the very first time you got a Grammy? That had to be extraordinary.
Well, it was something. The very first Grammy I won with the orchestra was from 1996 or 97. And it was a live concert we did. And our guests were the New York Voices. And it got nominated and ended up winning. We were on the road somewhere. And somebody called one of the guys in the band and said, you guys just won a Grammy. He's like, what? So you do get excited about it. And then the next year we won again, which was just a very good feeling, man. And you never really know with things like that. You just do the best you can when you make a product or when you make a recording, and you hope people like it. You hope the establishment likes it. And luckily for us, I think this recording, one of the reasons I wanted to do it, it just shows who we are.
Yeah.
When you listen to that, there's no going back and doing another take. This is what we sound like when we play. And it was captured greatly. It was mixed very well. And I did that too. I was able to help Woody Woodruff do that. And the guy who recorded it, Lawrence Manchester, I think he does the sound for the Jimmy Fallon show. I think that's what the show that he does. Yeah. So he captured everything in its natural sounding state. And the audience every night was just off the charts, man. And you could hear their enthusiasm, all of that. So, it sounds really good. I listen to it all the time. I was listening to a little bit today, and it sounds good.
That is absolutely fantastic. The other thing you love to do, which you've been sprinkling into the conversation, Scotty, is teaching others, young minds that are up and coming. Tell us about that. That's really important to you.
I've had great teachers all my life, man. I mean, the one thing about teaching that I understood one day is that all of us, me, you, people watching, I don't care what they've done and what they've achieved in life, at some point, we have all been the beneficiaries of someone else's patience. Think about that for a minute. It hit me one day. I was like, oh my God. My teacher had to sit there and listen to me, not even be able to hardly play. Another teacher had to sit there and listen to me messing up the chord changes to a tune. Another teacher had to sit there and listen to me. You know what I mean? So I've been so fortunate to get information from teachers that we have, all of us, not just musicians, we all have an obligation to pass on our knowledge of something to someone else that wants to know it, you know? So I love working with musicians, man. I love watching my students. Some of my students I met when they were in, elementary school and middle school, come up to our jazz camps at FSU. They come to FSU, they get their degree, they go out in the world, they start making money and traveling. And I love to see that. They're doing well, and to know that I could have given them something that may have helped, that's a hell of a feeling. But I was getting that from Clark Terry. I was getting it from Wynton. I was getting it from John Faddis. I was getting that from Dizzy, from Nat Adderley. Frank Sinatra, just him shaking my hand. That's a teaching moment.
That's a big, yeah.
Man, that's a teaching.
Transferred a lot of energy to you in that handshake.
Absolutely, man. I never forget that as long as I live. And his daughter, Tina, is a really good friend of mine. And I told her the same thing, man. I said, just your father stopping to do that to me, I can't tell you what that meant. I was 28, 29 or whatever it was. But for him to do that, knowing who he was, so I just believe in whatever I have to give, I'm just going to give it back to anyone that wants it. And so teaching to me, it's just a joy to be able to do it. And I'll be doing it until I'm no longer on this planet. I have no intentions of stopping whatsoever. And I love working with students all over the world. That's the good part about traveling with the orchestra. I get to do master classes in Europe and Japan, even South Africa when we went there, all 50 states and everything. But the students of today, this current generation, is a very interesting generation, but they still want to learn.
Yeah.
A lot of them go about it a little differently from how we did it. And but they still want to learn. And but I also had to learn one of the things that teaching taught me also, which is kind of almost the flip side of it. Not everyone wants to be great either.
Right. Isn't that interesting? Right. A lot of people don't realize that.
But every student that comes in my door doesn't want to be great. I had to realize that, because I'm thinking, well, if they're here to study with me, they want to really. That's not necessarily the case.
Right.
Okay, they could just be fulfilling a major requirement just to get a grade.
Right.
I had to learn that, but it didn't alter what I was showing them. It didn't alter, well, let me not do this for them. No, it didn't alter that. It just made me realize, okay, I got to work with them a little differently and expect something different. That's what it taught me. And so teaching is a very interesting profession, man, especially when you're working with in the arts and music, because everybody has a different kind of agenda sometimes than you initially think, And but look, my door is always open. I don't care if they play trumpet or bass or whatever. I'm willing to work with anybody, because that's how it's been. That's how I've seen the elders of this music. Whether it's Frank Foster giving somebody an arranging lesson in 5 minutes at the airport, or if it's Wynton giving, somebody a trumpet lesson, at 2:00 in the morning, or Clark Terry calling me up and say, man, this young, whatever it may be. We're all here to give back. And I think in teachers, now I definitely know why, I can see teachers aren't paid enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's one profession, man. They really need to fix that. Not that we become millionaires or something, but it needs to be commensurate with what we're doing, what we're giving. But that's just the way the world goes, man. What can you do about it, really? But yeah, I love teaching. Long story short. Yeah.
Absolutely do. Absolutely. And the Count Basie Orchestra, again, truly a blessing to be so affiliated with them for such a long time. If people haven't seen them and you guys performing live, what can they expect? What's the experience like for everybody?
Man, swing with an explosive excitement. Swing meaning will make you feel good. You'll be able to feel the pulse, because you'll see us on stage feeling the pulse. What we're doing, making your feet tap and you snap your fingers and bob your head, all of that. It'll make you move. It'll just make you move. As Count Basie once said, he said, our blues, this is a quote, he said, our blues will make you forget your blues.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do, man. We're a blues-based orchestra, and we just try to play and make people feel good. That's what we do, and it's exciting. You can dance to everything that we play, and it's just a nice way to enjoy watching 18 musicians on stage have a great time, have a way of looking at the world, almost through rose-colored glasses. You know what I mean? It's just look at the smile on everybody's face there. That's just a photo shoot. And
yes.
We're just like that on the stage when we're playing.
Yes.
The night that we play, something new happens. It could be the same song, but something new. The soloist will be different. The solo's idea may be different. The tempo may be awful. It could be anything, but it's different every night. That is what keeps us anxious and can't wait to get to the gig, because we know something good is going to happen, individually and collectively. And that's one of the things that this music offers, man. Every night is different. Every night is a challenge. Every night you learn something new. And hopefully every night you elevate the art just a little bit more, small little steps, but you just keep going and to travel around the world doing it, playing great concert halls, clubs, whatever it may be. It's just, again, I'm the luckiest guy on the planet, man. I'm dead serious about that. To be in this orchestra and be a part of it and helping it to continue. And again, I thank all the musicians in the orchestra. I thank all of them every single night, man. And Dee Askew, our management team, Sam Beeler and the Unity Music Foundation that's helped us to do these recordings, that has kept us, really visible. And the Basie estate, from Wayne Winborn to Joy Rosenthal, all of the lawyers, and just everybody. It's a big family to keep this thing going. But, Mr. Basie was, if anybody's orchestra is going to keep going for 500 years, it's his.
Yeah, huh?
If anybody's going to keep going, it's his. And he wanted the orchestra to keep going. Unlike some other band leaders, he wanted the orchestra to keep going. So the day that they had his funeral, I forget what the date was, but the very next day, the band's on the plane back on the road. The very next day. And it's been that way ever since, And he just said that as long as the musicians want to keep it going, they're going to keep it going. And for every night, we just have a ball.
Is any of the descendants of Count Basie, the family, still around, relatives at all, who love the fact that this is still going in his honor?
Well, Basie only had one biological child. Her name was Diane. And Diane is in her mid to late 70s, and she lives in Hollywood, Florida. And she's had multiple sclerosis all her life, so she's had 24 care all of her life. And they didn't expect her to live past 5 or 6 years old. And now she's almost 80. So she's the only biological child that he has alive. But he has a stepson, Aaron Woodward, who used to be CEO of the orchestra. He's still around. And that's all the family that I know of that he has. And like this week coming up in St. Augustine, or a week from today, we have a concert at Fort Mosey in St. Augustine, Florida. And Freddie Green, who was the guitarist in the orchestra for 50 years, his son, Al Green, is going to be there with his family. So every time we play, people come, people that are
Green, another great, yeah.
Yeah, Al Green, Freddie's son. He wrote a book on Freddie. So he lives in Florida somewhere, but he'll be there and we'll get to see them and a lot of other friends. And pretty much every concert we play, there's somebody that is a relative of somebody that was in the orchestra or that knew somebody, something like that. So it's every concert is like a homecoming of sorts.
It really is. Do you want to sprinkle in things that you're excited about that are coming up?
Yeah, well, we're getting ready to go back on tour slowly but surely. But Friday, a week from today, in St. Augustine, Florida, Fort Mosey is a benefit. And then we do, what's after that? We do Valdosta State University March 3rd. Then we play here in Tallahassee, which I'm so excited about, on Friday, March 4th, at my undergraduate university, Florida A&M University. The last time we played there was like 1996 or something like that.
Wow.
We're going to play there. And then what's after that? I think Seattle is after that, April 15 and 16 in Seattle at Benaroya Hall, Symphony Hall in Seattle. Then we do, we got some other stuff before that. I just can't remember, in Kansas City, I think. And then we do Jazz Fest in New Orleans on May 1, Sunday, May 1. This is the third or fourth time they've had to reschedule that. And the last years they've scheduled, every time we had it on there, it got canceled. So now it looks like it'll happen May 1 in New Orleans. And then the Hollywood Bowl in the summer, San Francisco in the summer. I think the Hollywood Bowl is a tribute to Frank Sinatra. Yeah, that's what that is, a tribute to Sinatra and Peggy Lee. That's July 27th. And I think European tours in the fall, it might be December. So we're slowly but surely getting back through this pandemic and getting back to work. And we're going to record again soon, too. I'm trying to set that up for July. And we're going to do a blues recording. So I'm working on that. And, just trying to get the things back up to where they used to be. An annual trip to Europe, annual trip to Japan, about, all over the States. We're just trying to get back to it.
Why do you love so much what you do? And what are some of those blessings and joys in your life that continue to propel you forward, my friend?
And the answer to that would be I get a certain feeling that's indescribable when I listen to music and when I play it. When I'm listening to something, whether it's a good gospel piece or good, heck, Beethoven or even Samuel Barber's Adagio for strings or an Earth, Wind, and Fire ballad or something, music, when it hits me a certain way, when music hits me a certain way, it's an indescribable feeling of elation that I get pretty much every day when I hear the right thing. And the trick is to try to reproduce that when I'm making music. That's what it's all about. So that's why I love what I do, because any given moment that I'm playing or listening, I could get that feeling. And you just don't want to let it go. You just want to, and then when you can get that feeling along with other individuals at the same time in a trio or a big band, like we are, man, I just can't describe it. It's like it's beyond winning the lottery. It's like being in love for the very first time, every time. That feeling,
every time.
I can't really explain it hardly, but that's kind of what it's like.
That's amazing, isn't it? It really is amazing.
And
are there things that you haven't done yet that you still want to do because you have your hands in so many different aspects of music?
Man. Well, I just think I like to collaborate with a lot more people in a lot of different styles. Like I'd like to do an album with Cuban musicians one day. I went to Cuba, and when I played with everybody there, that was just incredible. I like to do a record with, different parts of the world. Just go to different parts of the world, work with musicians from different parts of the world to learn their music. What is it about their music or that they can teach me, and what can I teach them maybe about jazz, how we can put these things together and really play. So that's kind of what I want to do. I want to just keep collaborating and just keep learning about music, man. I mean, music is something that will always be around as long as there are humans on this planet. And I just think the more that I can learn about the different styles of it, the different types of it, the better musician I'll be and the better person I'll be.
Yeah. So
that's kind of what I want to do. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I think somebody come in my door. You come say hello to the people watching. This is my lovely love. This is Dr. Yvette Mignon. She's right here. Here you go. Hello.
Hi, welcome to the Jim Master Show live.
Oh, awesome!
Nice.
I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, good. The piece that I played earlier for you on the piano, I wrote that for her.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
yes.
Fantastic.
He's a brilliant, beautiful, just
oh boy,
smart. I mean, she's a physician.
What would be one word that she would use to describe you?
Oh my God! Well, she's right here. Maybe I should have listened. Ask her, man. You have to ask her. She's right here. I don't know what that would be.
Oh my goodness!
What would that be?
One word? Do I have to just say one word? There you are. He is kind and loving and sweet and dedicated. He's a really good person, completely, and that's real.
Well.
And fantastic.
Yeah.
What do we call that around here? Lovity.
Oh,
that is lovity. Wow. How did you guys meet?
We met at the blues club here in town. Actually, there's a blues club here in town. That's a very important place to go hear the blues. And I went to go hear my friends play one night, and she was there.
That's true.
Wow, that's fantastic, huh?
Yeah.
Do you play any instruments yourself?
Oh, no. I love music, and I love music.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, I don't. I've been told that we need people who really appreciate good music, and so I am one of those people.
Yes, she does.
That's it, huh? That is fantastic. That is wonderful. We've had such a great conversation here on the show, and you guys are really fantastic. Scotty, you are truly a master. Somebody asked if you play other instruments in addition to the trumpet and the piano.
A little bit of trombone and flute and drums.
Somebody asked about the drums, if you did the drums as well. Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you see another album coming out as well beyond the Count Basie Orchestra? Anything that's solo yourself too?
Yes. I have a solo. I was talking to Sam Bueller today. We're going to try to do that in June or July. And the only issue is, do I have it coincide with my updated book, or just do something totally just different? But yeah, we're going to do it. Absolutely. I don't want to name the musicians who are going to be in there because they're very famous. I don't want to put their names out there, but they've already said yes. So
that is cool. That is cool. Well, that's fantastic. You know, there was somebody here that was watching while we were chatting on the show. Mr. George Burns with us tonight. He's very dapper. He's got his hanky, the red hanky, his cigar. He said you knocked it out of the park, kiddo. He loved it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you very much for having me.
This was my aunt collected dolls, and when he turned 100, she ran out and collected the collector's George Burns at 100, and then it got passed down to me. So I show it towards the latter part, and he's there, always dapper with a cigar, and just he's got his little martini on the left here too. And he had just a wonderful time, and really, again, you are something else, a class act. And Juanita, watching in South Africa, says, double lovity. The two of you there is double lovity.
Thank you.
Beautiful couple from Terry Ann as well. Somebody asked, I think it was Merlin in Ontario asked, did you ever meet Herb Albert?
Yeah, I know Herb, yes. Met Herb a couple times in LA, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, you worked with Herbie Hancock too, right?
Yeah, we did a couple times I worked with him. When I worked with Aretha, who's on my wall here, we did not a benefit for her, but a tributer. He was on piano, and I was in the trumpet section. So that's kind of how we met.
Speaking of that beautiful room that you're in that is adorned with all of these great accolades, tell us about the room. I'm kind of now Edward R. Murrow, and this is CBS Person to Person. We're the home of Scotty Barnhart. Tell us about this fabulous room that you are in.
Well, this is my dining room. I just have my piano here. It's a 7-foot Wurlitzer, grand. And I just have photos and stuff all over the place, you know, some Basie Grammy stuff and album covers and plaques and things like that. And on the piano, my family photos of Yvette, and on the wall behind me back there, Armstrong. And I think they can see my goddaughter back there, the picture right above the lamp, the young lady back there. That's one of my goddaughters. And just, you know, pictures and stuff, and that's about it. Got a ton of books and a ton of music.
That's fantastic. Surrounded by the work, but also surrounded by the love of family and friends as well, all adorned around you, which again gives you a great source of inspiration, I'm sure, right, my friend?
Yes. My mom and my dad, I lost both of them in the last year, so their photos are there. And family, you know, just people like that, and friends, and it's conducive to smiling every day, I guess you could say.
Sherry Larson, watching in Kansas, says, thank you for being here with us, Scotty. Enjoyed hearing about your career and your music. Merlin in Canada says, thanks for being here, you two. You are both lovities now on the Jim Masters Show Live, where we celebrate levity. Juanita in South Africa says, thank you, Scotty. This was a wonderful conversation. Loved hearing your stories and your music as well.
Thank you.
You graced us with your playing as well. This was fantastic. And is it the CountBasieOrchestra.com that people can go to learn more about everything?
Exactly right. TheCountBasieOrchestra.com. That's right.
Fantastic. This was awesome. Really, truly a blessing and an honor to meet both of you. Yes. Icing on the cakes, double levity. She's the bonus surprise guest. We had it all planned that she was going to come in towards the end, right? She looks like $1 million. She's all there. Is she going to swing around and start tickling the ivories too, or no? She leaves that. You leave that to him.
I wish.
Yes.
So she does way.
If you ever want to learn, you've got the master right there next to you, huh?
It's true. It's true.
You guys are truly a blessing. Thanks for joining us on the show. Kathleen Walker in New York City says, wonderful conversation. Thank you for sharing your music. And thank you both for being here, our faithful lovities here on the Jim Masters Show Live. If anybody wants to see this episode again, it's right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV archive. They can see the entire conversation, hear the music and everything that we covered, which was fantastic. And we don't call these interviews, we call these conversations. Gang, this was really a blessing, and I hope the show met whatever expectations you had and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you.
It's great. Really, really great. Thank you for having me, Jim.
Thanks for letting me jump in.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say she got like 10 minutes of it too, so that's fantastic.
Awesome.
We'll say
I like the way you very elegantly just slid right in on the chair, and you didn't have to look. She didn't even have to look to see where the bench was. She knew and came in and turned the camera.
I didn't want to get in the way. I didn't want
perfect, absolutely perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are the best. You take care, and thanks so much for being with us. And a couple of more comments coming in here. Jane in Sweden. Thank you, Scotty, for sharing your story and your music. Thanks to Jim as well.
Thanks, Jane.
Mona, in one of our jazz capitals. She's in New Orleans and in Louisiana there. And Mona says, thank you, Scotty, for your time and beautiful wife. Love hearing your...
But we're not married. But
I was going to say Mona's already.
Thank you.
Where is Mona? Is she in New Orleans? Where is she?
In New Orleans, yes.
Well, come and see us on May 1st at Jazz Fest. We'll be there.
Oh, fantastic. And Linda watching in Florida, she's in St. Augustine, and you're going to be in St. Augustine,
Yeah,
right?
a week from today. Yes.
Fantastic. Yes, Mona sent me some fantastic Louisiana Cajun spices from New Orleans that we've been using in our cooking. The spices down there are fantastic.
Well, yes.
Good stuff. Well, you guys, again, blessings and joy to you both. Thanks for joining us here on the show. Really fantastic. And congratulations on all the accomplishments thus far, my friend. And we'll keep the porch light on for you and welcome you back anytime. And spread the word about our show. We would love that.
Oh, sure will. Absolutely.
You guys have a great night, and thanks for being with us. We thought we would chat for an hour. We've done about almost an hour and 45. Didn't even feel like it, did it?
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, beautiful.
Didn't even feel like it. Just a warm conversation. You guys be well and take care, okay?
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. What a fantastic conversation and great live music and so much more. Loved having them both on the show. Of course, Scotty, two-time Grammy-winning acclaimed jazz trumpeter and leader and composer, arranger, educator, author, and director of the infamous and beloved Count Basie Orchestra. Yes, and it went all the way back to Count Basie himself. We talked about him and the influences. There's the original orchestra as well. And of course, Scotty is the director, soloist for 20 years with the orchestra first, and then really took the reins and is at the helm, directing it and guiding it in his fantastic way to soaring heights. And really, really fantastic. This was, again, part of that great PBS special that he was talking about. And there's the gang from the orchestra as well. A really fantastic promo shot there. Really, really nice. And of course, they're all on the usual places, the Facebook and the Twitter, and the CountBasieOrchestra.com is the website to check out their tour schedule and all their music, the CDs and everything else. This one being the latest, which I know the orchestra and Scotty are very, very proud of. The Count Basie Orchestra live at Birdland. That just came out last fall, which is really, really fantastic. And really, really nice. And we didn't show this one, but this is a cool shot. There he is with Quincy Jones. Yes, yes. Matter of fact, maybe I want to see, maybe you can get Scotty back here. Hey, Scotty, we have this photo with you and Quincy Jones. Before we go, tell us about this. And of course, you have a wonderful respect for Quincy. Oh,
that's my man. That was actually at Norman Lear's house. We did a recording called Ray Sings, Basie Swings. The recording we did with Ray Charles, kind of posthumously, they kind of put Ray's voice over new arrangements. And that was at the premiere at Norman Lear's house. And Quincy was there, Queen Abdul, all these people. But the reason that it was at Norman Lear's house, Norman used to own the record company that we were on at the time. And so it was a big party, and we just kind of hanging out in Norman's little breezeway there. And it was just a fun night. That was 2006 or 7, I think. Something like that.
Wow. I tell you, you talk about legendary to have Quincy Jones, the incomparable Norman Lear, who's like 99 now.
Right, 99.
99. He posted this short little video on the internet, which was very inspiring, where he's sitting on a rocking chair, I think drinking a glass of lemonade at age 99 in a T-shirt with his famous hat. And He's on the porch and he's looking out at the Vermont countryside. They're in their family home, sort of their vacation home they've always had, he and his wife, for 1,000 years. And he's sitting on a rocking chair with the lemonade, casual summertime in Vermont, looking. He turns his phone around. He says, "Look at this. Vermont countryside." He said, "I'm 99." He said, "This was the house. We always come to this house to get away from it all in Vermont. And now the house is run by our kids. You know, we've given it to our children. I'm here surrounded by loving family with a glass of lemonade on a rocking chair in the summer, looking at the beautiful mountains of Vermont. Is there anybody more blessed than me?" He knows what it's all about. That's really what it's all about, right?
That house that we were in there, the one that he had, that was kind of Upper Bel Air. I mean, Upper Brentwood, actually. Incredible home. I mean, just absolutely incredible. It took about 2 or 3 minutes to get from the street to get to the front door.
Yes.
You had to ride a little golf cart thing, and you just driving, and bam, you get to his house. So he was a nice guy.
I was going to say, that's really another great experience in your ongoing journey of life. Again, my friend, this was really fantastic.
Yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well, my friend.
Absolutely loved it. Best I've ever done, seriously.
I appreciate that. You know, my father has always said, when people say something nice to you, Jim, tell them to please put that in writing and address it management. Put it in writing and address it management.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
You're the best. Thanks for all the time, too. I really appreciate it. And we'll chat again soon. Okay, Scotty?
Absolutely. You got it.
You be well. Take care now.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was our encore. That was our bonus to have him come back there for you. Sort of like, you know, if they were performing with he was performing with the orchestra, there'd be that encore. That is his verbal encore. We had that picture with Quincy Jones, and I wanted to make sure we got that in because that was special. I didn't know that picture was taken at the beautiful Brentwood or Bel Air home of Norman Lear. Wow, you talk about lots of iconic talent there with Scotty and with Norman Lear and Quincy Jones and many others that were there that night. Very, very special. So that was a little bonus surprise for you guys watching us here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Hope you enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed this episode, learning about Scotty Barnhart. Again, he's a legend in the industry, 2-time Grammy-winning, possibly maybe a third. If the Live at Burnland CD makes it there, he's headed to the Grammys soon, which is very exciting. And again, he heads up the beloved Count Basie Orchestra in style. 20 years as a soloist, trumpeter, and then now took the reins of the famous Count Basie Orchestra, dating all the way back to the original with Count Basie himself. Really fantastic. We appreciate Scotty joining us here on the show, playing live for us as well, telling stories, inspiring, entertaining, informative, conversational, all of it right here. Another great show for all of you from us here at the Jim Masters Show Live. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Great show. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Kathleen. And yes, a beautiful encore there, Merlin in Canada. Thank you very much. And crazy things going on in Canada right now. I hope you are resting and enjoying to get away from all the crazy stuff going on there in Canada, Merlin. Just continue kicking back and watching the Jim Masters Show Live. We will keep you entertained and take you away from the craziness of life. And really, really fantastic. Juanita, great episode. Thanks, Jim. Thank you, Juanita, as well. I want to let you know we've got a very special, we'll take a look at more comments in just a second. We have a very special show. Well, first of all, yesterday, if you didn't see Wink Martindale and Sandra Martindale on the show, Sandra, she is an icon herself. She once dated Elvis Presley, Wayne Newton, and at the same time, a brilliant dancer. She was in the movie Viva Las Vegas with Elvis Presley, the wife of Wink Martindale, legendary television host, radio DJ for years, radio announcer, and legendary game show host. High Rollers and Trivial Pursuit and Tic-Tac-Doe and Gambit and so many shows. We had an epic, rare, and exclusive conversation yesterday on our series, The Jim Masters Show Live. Check that out if you didn't see it. It's on our YouTube channel, archived for your viewing pleasure. Tomorrow, we are welcoming back comedy legend and the love goddess, Judy Tenuta. She has some special announcements and some special things, new things that she wants to share with us. She's a legend. She's been on every show you can think of, from Johnny Carson and The Tonight Show all the way up. She is kicking cancer's ass, and that is pretty much her slogan. As you know, she's been battling stage 4 cancer, this beloved, iconic comedic genius and musician too, accordion player, and so much more. She is back with us for a very special Valentine's weekend episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. That is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. There's going to be a lot of comedy and humor, but some poignant stories as well as we kick off Valentine's weekend. Valentine's weekend, Super Bowl weekend, a lot going on here in the United States with the Super Bowl and with Valentine's weekend. Judy Tenuta, comedy legend, is going to be with us. And again, she's got a new video out, Kicking Cancer's Ass, stage 4, and she's working through it. And she's really a blessing, a blessing. Christine Clifton in North Carolina says, thanks, Jim, for this wonderful show with Scotty. Interesting stories, great music on his trumpet. He has a terrific career and enjoying every bit of it. Yes, he really is. He really is. Thanks for being with us as well. And Merlin says, yes, she will get away from all the chaos by continuing to watch us here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Kathleen in New York, thank you as well. You have a great night. And Merlin says, fun show with Wink and Sandy yesterday. It was absolutely awesome. As are all of you. The Lovity Squad watching us live, commenting. Those of you who are just watching us and enjoying our show, we would love it again if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's the channel you're watching right now. If you enjoyed this episode and any of them, subscribe and click the notification bell, the little bell icon, so you can be notified about all of our shows and episodes. And again, give this episode a like, a thumbs up. We would love that. There's a little thumbs up icon on the YouTube channel underneath this episode. And leave a comment on the YouTube episode as well. That means a great deal to us. We thank our very, very special guest, Scotty Barnhart, for joining us here on the show. He really was a blessing. He's a true treasure. Class act, 2-time Grammy-winning artist, and really extraordinary. It was really fantastic. You guys are the best. We say thank you for being with us. And Christine loved the show with Wink Martindale and Sandy Martindale. They're great friends of mine now, and hopefully we'll be breaking bread with them soon. See you all over the weekend as well. And Lovity Squad, night from Merlin. You guys are the best. All right, so we'll be back with Judy Tenuta tomorrow. That's going to be a great show, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. One more time, thank you to Scotty joining us from Florida's capital, Tallahassee. I'm not sure if we spelled that right in the beginning of the show. I think our font was a little crazy, and we had to fix that during the show. But when you're live, you know, anything can happen. So, hey, we just roll with it. We like the freshness of a live show. But again, if you're watching this in the archives, we thank you. And this, if you didn't see this earlier, this is Scotty's mom, Shirley, and he lost her in the fall, and his dad not that long ago, and the wonderful inspirations that guided him along the way. Scotty Barnhart, our very special guest for tonight. Check this out. Again, the latest CD from the Count Basie Orchestra. Here's some others for your pleasure. Well, this one here is his book. Again, this is really fantastic. The World of Jazz Trumpet by Scotty Barnhart. You'll love this. Get this in your collection. But here's some other CDs. This one here received glowingly, all about that Basie. And this one as well. And others. Say It Plain. This is Scotty's album. Really fantastic. Gang, thanks for being with us. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Thank you for your time this time till next time. Check out all the other episodes of our series. If you'd like to do some binge watching over the weekend or anytime, go back and back and back and look at all the great episodes we have right here for you, archived on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Thumbs up to all of you as well. We love you all. Thanks for being with us. Be well, be good to one another. Take care of one another. Takes a village, and we're here for you as often as possible to provide great entertainment and hopefully some levity coming your way. Thanks for all the great comments. You can find us also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Jim Masters TV. Our YouTube channel is Jim Masters TV, home to the Jim Masters Show Live, and also our Facebook group for this series, the Jim Masters Show Levity Hall on Facebook as well. You guys be well. Take care. It's another great show, and we're wrapping it up, and we can't wait to see you guys again soon. So again, we love you all. Take care. Keep smiling and keep doing your thing. Don't let anybody ever tell you you're not of value and you're not important. To us, you are, and you should be to yourself as well. We all have great value, and there's a reason why we're all here, not just on the Jim Masters Show Live, but why we're here, a part of the world together. So a little inspiration there for you as we head out. I've had no lunch or dinner yet. I was on 2 TV shoots today, and then we ran in here to the studio to get this show together. And now at almost 10 o'clock at night, or is it 9 o'clock? That's right, 9 o'clock. Thank God it's not 10 o'clock at night. 9 o'clock, we're going to grab some grub. And I have a TV shoot, a TV news shoot tomorrow early in the morning in the television studio. And then we're going to be back here for all of you with comedy legend Judy Tenuta. I'll be right here waiting for you, and hope you're here with us. If not, you can always catch it in the archives. All right, I'm going to zip it for now, as rare as that is, and go get some grub, and we'll see you on the next one. Boy, these endings are lengthy because we hate saying goodbye, so we don't say that. We say see you later, gang. All right, take care. Love you. Bye-bye. Take care. Why did I say bye-bye? I never say bye-bye. How did I let that slip out? Let's say moi loop. How about that? Moi loop, which is walk well in African, and sláinte, and cheers, and avida zane, and all the rest. Just a simple see you later works. Jim Masters signing off. Thanks, gang. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.